You're listening to Chasing Prophecy Radio, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. On UPRN Talk Radio, FM 107.7 in New Orleans and FM 105.3 in Mississippi.
If it's unexplainable, we're talking about it.
Whether you're a believer or a skeptic,
we cover everything where the unknown becomes the known.
Okay, and they're unedited and really terrifying, narrated by Steve Stockton, and I highly recommend it. Jennifer, you're going to have to mute that.
I knew him. I was on their board from 2011 to, 13 or 14, something like that. And he's a straight-laced professional, IBM executive. I've had dinner with him and his wife. They're churchgoers. They go to Bible study together. I find the whole thing out of character. But, being head of security for years, 26 years, I also found that you never know about somebody. And, the strangest things happen. But I tell you a couple of things I heard. When you're in the UFO field, though, you can get set up. There's a lot of people in this field that either committed suicide, that got in trouble with the law. You got to wonder. It really makes you wonder. And somebody said that he had some documents on his computer that he wasn't supposed to have from either the Defense Department or the Secret Space Program, which is not a secret anymore with the Space Force, and that this may not be what it appears to be. So I don't know. That's all I know about it. But I know when it's in the UFO field, this field either attracts strange people, or there's an agency out there that gets you out of the way if you're causing problems, or there's that other side of this field that you don't see, the dark side, that is absolutely drawn to this field. It's in the background.
Yeah.
Can you share that? Like some dark side?
Well, the demonic forces. It's funny, okay. Just really quick with that. It's really interesting. Well, one thing Jan Harzan's wife said to me 2 or 3 years ago when I was really digging into the demonology, she said that she had been at 2 of the symposiums and actually saw shadow people moving through the aisles among the attendees. She was
my God.
Yeah. And matter of fact, then I looked into that a little. There were other people who said the same thing. Matter of fact, I think it was a symposium just 3 years ago that the people, some 2 of the state directors said they saw shadow people moving through the theater. Here's something really interesting. I joined MUFON in '98. Because I was researching my first book on end time prophecy. And when I was looking at these other cultures and stuff, the UFO thing started coming up. So, I started writing that book in '96. So '98, I joined MUFON. '99, I go to my first MUFON symposium over in D.C., Northern Virginia. And I come home, and I have 4 days of demonic infestation, 4 nights, I should say. Now, why would that happen at the first UFO symposium I went to? I'm telling you, there's a connection here between this UFO field and demonology. There is.
Yeah, we had the same question. We had the same conversation. I think it was on Facebook about we both have the same ideology on what they are and the angels and demons.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind that the abduction side of UFOs are not aliens. It's a repeat of the Nephilim, the fallen angels, the Watchers, actually. There's a difference between the fallen angels and the Watchers. They're not the same. The fallen angels were the ones that sided with Lucifer and revolted. The Watchers are 200 angels that decided to materialize and procreate with women and became fallen angels. So there's two different types of fallen angels. But I am, Jen, also, while I was doing this research in my book, The String Theory of the Unexplained, I took Kenneth Ring's work on near-death experience and alien abduction, right? And he says they're two total opposites, and he gives a lot of reasons why. So what I did then, after reading all of the books on exorcism, Malachi Martin, Gabriel Amorth, all of those, and not hauntings, but demon attack type stories, and I read the alien abduction stories, Carla Turner, all of those, Betty Andresian. I then sat down and took the markers of demonic infestation, when they start to attack, and the markers of alien abduction. There's about a 70% overlap. The same things happen. And I think I may be the only person in the world that has done that comparison. And it's in that book, The String Theory of the Unexplained. So, and then, I looked at a lot of cases like Carla Turner and Betty Andresian. They absolutely 1000% were describing demonic entities. But, Carla Turner was a doctor, and she must have been an atheist because she never looked at the religious side, didn't call upon God, didn't call on Jesus for help. And she just tried to explain it, thinking it was some sort of an alien thing. But she ended up realizing that, because she wrote a book, Masquerade of Angels, she knew it wasn't angels, and that meant it was demons, but she never said it was demons. She still stuck with the alien thing. And there were a lot of yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I've been in the paranormal business for over 30 years, and I have dealt with some demons, but also a lot of the shadow people that you've seen are not all demonic. Yeah. Okay. To me, when someone says, and I'm not knocking you, John. Okay. Yeah. I'm not knocking you. All right. I'm not questioning you or nothing. But my point of view is that not all and everything is demonic. It's usually, in my experience of investigating a lot of clients' houses, it's not so much demonic, but a really, really angry spirit.
Yeah. Well, here's something else, Sean. Let me ask your opinion, because I had always bought into, the fact that ghosts were human spirits, and then you had something else that was demons, and you have angels. But I read a book recently, God's Ghostbusters, which was one of the best ones to explain everything paranormal. But one chapter in there by Gary Bates from the Creation Ministries, he said that there are no such thing as ghosts as far as human spirits. And I don't agree with him, but he basically said that anything you encounter that's preternatural, supernatural like that, it's either an angel or a demon. And no. I don't agree with that. But, I'll tell you what, I asked some other people, and they said, oh, yeah, when we were growing up, that's what we were told. There are no ghosts. There are angels and demons, and that's all there is.
Yeah, I agree, because that's the way I grew up. That's what was taught to me. But being in the field for so long and being really deep into the paranormal, spirits are human beings. And I don't believe what that guy said. I mean,
but I really stopped and thought about that. I said, well, we know that demons trick people by pretending to be relatives. We know they can actually do good things to suck you in and get on you, and get you to invite them in and stuff. So, but who knows? Here's the thing. Nobody really knows what any of the ghost, demon, angel stuff is, interdimensional. Nobody really knows what the aliens are. Who knows? But I don't agree with his assessment, but it made me actually stop and say, wow, if ghosts are not human spirits and every one of those encounters are really a demon messing with you, that's scary.
Yeah, I can see that. But, and I mean, for any ordinary Joe or Jane, okay, I can see that point of view. But when you have professionals like us, okay, especially me, in the feeling like, is it demon or non-demon? You know what I mean? But for an ordinary Joe and Jane, yes, I can see how that can happen. And I'll share an experience with you. I had a case a year ago where this one lady, she was in her 50s, no lie, and she was being attacked by a spirit. Now, she thought it was a demon, but it was a spirit. But I couldn't figure out, like, what's going on, you know? So I play Columbo when I go on these investigations. And here, come to find out, she played with a Ouija board 25 years ago.
Yep.
Okay? And you know as well as I know, there's no time out there in spirit realm. Okay? And that spirit waited and waited and waited and found the opportunity time to pounce in and, you know, gave this girl a lot of crap.
You gotta want to stay away from those Ouija boards.
Oh, you have to. But, you know, I'll tell you something else without turning this totally into the demonic side, though, is that what is the odds that, I've had paranormal activity my whole life, or let's say the major part of it started in Oklahoma in 1990, but every couple of years something really paranormal happened. But then on the 20th anniversary of my divorce. Now, what is the odds of that? A demonic entity showed up in the house. Why on the 20th anniversary of my divorce? See, there's no coincidence with these things. They waited. There's no conception of time. Well, maybe there was, because he did it exactly on the 20th anniversary, June 6th of 14. I got divorced June 6th of 94. But that was a message, and that one was my first encounter that I believe was demonic.
Mm-hmm. That's creepy. Okay, Jen, it's back to you, honey.
That's okay. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, we'll get back to reality of
aliens. Go back to reality. Yeah, really. No, I love it's so interesting. I could sit and listen to it all night. But tell us. Why did you got involved with MUFON in the first place? I know you mentioned a little bit about it, but did you, besides having the demonic things, was there something to get you involved in it?
Yeah, well, it was kind of interesting. When I talked to like a lot of the MUFON people, state directors, they all, Stan Gordon. Well, I love this. I loved it. I read every UFO book at 8 years old, 9 years old. I said, well, I got news for you. I didn't have any interest in this until I was like 41 years old. I knew nothing about the UFO field. I knew zero. I was a Comic-Con horror magazine collector, Famous Monsters of Filmland. I was working, traveling all around the country. I wanted to write a novel, disaster novel, either around the millennium or 2012. I decided to do 2012 because it was 96 and I didn't think I could get it done in 4 years. So that's how I basically started, writing a Irwin Allen disaster novel, around the Mayan calendar. And that's when I started reading the stuff about star people, knowledge from people from the sky, flying shields. That's how I got involved in UFOs. And I think, it actually pulled me in. I didn't look to get into the UFO field like everybody thinks. Oh, he's always done this. No, I was 1998. I joined MUFON. I was 41. I knew nothing about UFOs. So I kind of got in, and then it immediately kind of pulled me in, because, I won't say that, because actually in the beginning not much happened other than that demonic attack after the first conference. But later on, when I became state director, is when I got sucked in because of the TV shows.
Oh, yeah. We all did. Jen, I'm going to ask my producer. I see Celeste. Does she have a question for John? I'm not sure. I guess she does, but yes, she does. Hi, Celeste. Do you have a question for John Ventre?
Hi. Yeah.
Hi. Welcome to Chasing Prophecy. Do you have a question for John Ventre or comment?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So last night I had a dream, right?
Okay.
A dream that I was flying and some people was they was trying to catch me, but they couldn't. And then after in the dream, I had a ring, a gold ring. They was trying to get it, but they couldn't. It was a real fight because every time they try to come closer, I just fly away.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I had two out-of-body experiences exactly 30 years apart. And at the time I was 12. I thought it was a dream. It was 4 nights in a row, I think. And every night, I was able to fly further, and I could actually see all the trees, all the tops of the houses in my neighborhood in Queens and stuff. And then when I in '99, when I told you I attended that MUFON symposium and I had all this demonic activity in the house, I again had an out of body experience. I was floating above my house. It was like I woke up and I opened my eyes and I could see my green Grand Cherokee in the driveway, and I was at the peak of the house and I wanted to just try to reach and touch it, and I kind of fell back into sleep or whatever it was. So I don't know. I'm not a dream expert. I don't know if those are, I don't know if your spirit leaves your body, about what out of body experiences are. But if you didn't see any creatures or anything, I don't know how significant that is.
Thank you,
No, I
Celeste.
didn't see any creatures. It was like people who was trying to get me, but I kept flying, and
Yeah.
it's a while now. Again, it's dream that I flying.
Well, it could be just a lucid dream. People have all kinds of things happen in lucid dreams,
Yeah.
But
Well, thanks.
The flying part could be an out of body experience.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Celeste.
Thank you very much,
joining the
Celeste.
call.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Real quick, John, what do you think of Kecksburg?
Well, yeah, Stan and I did we did a debate once on somebody's radio show. Kecksburg absolutely happened. Something happened. We know that they lied about it. We know that more than just 3 Air Force people showed up like they said. It's funny, in 2015, I hooked up with an engineer, and he pretty much convinced me that Kecksburg was really a military spy satellite, and we were able to explain just about everything from Kecksburg, that it was a GE Mark II spy satellite. But I tell you, one of the things that happened from it was when we wrote our research paper, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette printed it, and that reporter went and put it on a military website, Stars and Stripes. And a few months later, we were contacted by a guy up in Massachusetts who gave us the name of the Army officer that headed up the investigation in Kecksburg. Now, nobody had ever found anybody from the military that was involved with that. And we came upon the guy. We talked. He had passed away. We talked to his wife. We talked to his neighbors, and he had told them all that he had headed up that investigation into Kecksburg, but that it was a Russian satellite. That's what he was told.
Okay.
But I don't believe it was the Russian satellite. I believe it was our satellite, and they couldn't let anybody know because it was used to spy on Russia. So, the good thing is we came up with a witness and a verification that, they lied about it, that there were, 20, 30 people there, military related. And then, even the 4 guys in white outfits, which were really radiation suits, carrying a box into the woods and the blue arcing. We figured that was the radiation suits, NASA people maybe, and they cut the thing open to take out the atomic generator. I mean, so much of it made sense that we were able to explain it. But something happened, and it's not what we're being told, which happens a lot. I think that the whole Kecksburg thing too, it's funny, years ago I said to Stan, we got to do Kecksburg up. We got to do it bigger. We've got to do weekend tours, like from hotels where, you drive over and you tell the story. And that's when he started the Kecksburg Festival with the fire department. But I think that that could be made into a much bigger event in a different location with lectures and all of that, if the county or somebody wanted to actually make it a tourism spot like Roswell.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
See, John, since I started Chasing Prophecy, we started to get to the UFOs and stuff like that. And
yeah.
So I'm doing a lot of research, first time in 35 years. And it's amazing. It seems like, if I'm not mistaken, back in 1954, 55, that's where they saw a lot of UFOs over in Germany. And I was wondering, okay, it seems like after all this little bit of information and all the UFOs that we're catching, all of a sudden our electric or our communications, microwaves, stuff like that. Is it possible? Now, I think, okay, that since we caught these, or the Air Force has got these UFOs, that they took all this technology from them and then they used it for us. Is that a good statement?
Yeah, I think that's a good possibility. Bill Burns and I can't think of the other guy, that military officer, they wrote that book the day after Roswell, and they talked about all the items that we got from trying to figure out the UFO. But I actually have a little different spin on the UFO history. And I go back to, and I can't remember now, it was 1936 or 38, I think it was 36 in Germany, the Black Forest. There's a documented UFO crash in the Black Forest of Germany. Now, what I think happened was the Nazis got it. They didn't know what it was. They couldn't figure it out. And they started doing their experiments, like the Nazi Bell, the Haunebu, they developed the jet engines. They were 6 months away from winning World War II. If they really wanted the atomic bomb, which Hitler didn't want, he wanted to just capture cities. He didn't want to blow them up. And they had so much technology that they were working on, rockets, all of that. See, I think it came from that crash in the Black Forest. And I also think we got all of that. Kamler brought it over to America and cut a deal, because he's only mentioned one time in the Nuremberg trials, and then you never hear of Kamler again. I think he escaped, gave us all of the documentation and everything. And I think Roswell very well, that's 1945. So 2 years later in Roswell, that could have been an experimental UFO that we built and crashed in Roswell. And that could
that's great. That's it.
Yeah, that could be the explanation for Roswell and then the cover-up. But I think that the Black Forest crash was really the start of it, and the start wasn't Roswell.
Interesting.
I believe that too. Celeste has another question. She wants to know, and Celeste, if you go to my Facebook page or go to Amazon and look for Aurora's Curtain under my last name, J.E. Nicasio, I have a book that will answer that too in my book. It's a fiction book, but can Lucifer be forgiven by God?
I've asked that, and his betrayal was so deep, and his unwillingness to repent, so there is no forgiveness for Lucifer or for fallen angels. It's not possible because they're so malevolent at this point.
Okay, now I'm going to blow all you away tonight.
Good. I want to be blown away. Go for it, John.
You're going to get blown away.
Okay.
Now, when I was studying this stuff, I started Angels and Demons, and I talked to a lot of priests. I talked to a lot of monsignors and a lot of theologians, okay? And this really threw me for a loop there. But when God threw Lucifer out of heaven, right, he supposedly sent him to hell, okay? But sure, he was sent to hell, but he was there to keep an eye on Satan. Okay.
I've heard that it's two separate beings. Lucifer and Satan are two separate beings.
Two separate beings.
Yeah.
And I know, and from what these people who are scholars that telling me this, because it was really interesting, that when the earth ends, when everything dies, Lucifer will be put on the right-hand side of God again.
That's interesting.
Well,
Yeah, it is. It blew me away because when they would tell me, Kay, that he was just, because in the Bible, as you all know, if you didn't sound right, it wasn't going to be put in. I can go on forever. This is another show. This is another show.
That's interesting. But first, instead of taking a knee at sporting events, he's going to have to take a knee at the throne. And
Damn straight. Damn.
I
That's
think
another
a lot of
story,
people are going to
John.
have to do that.
Yeah.
That's another story there.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. That's kind of, I don't know. I think we all are able to be forgiven. So I'm not so sure about Lucifer. I know he was a terrible person, but I want to look at the good in all God's creatures, and maybe God could do that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's, it's a little contradictory to think that he's unforgivable, Yeah, but he would have to prove it. And, and I think the whole thing, even with this, when you get demonic infestation stuff, whether you emit an aura or something, they can read you somehow. I don't think demons can read your mind. They can put thoughts in your head, stuff, but I don't think they can actually read your mind. But I think there's enough of them around stalking people that they just know everything you've done because they've viewed it.
Well, they know where where your weakness is. And that's why I always tell people, don't put it out there in the universe what you are fearful of, because that's when the demons, demonic people, spirits, that's how they get you.
Yeah. And they pick people out for various reasons, and some people think, well, it's only bad people. Like when I started telling people I got something in my house, the first thing they said to me is, what'd you do wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. And then you do the research, you find out, well, they already got the bad people pretty much. It's the good people that they're trying to get, so, and there were many people like Padre Pio, St. Teresa, others, John the R's, that these were good people that were attacked because they were good. So, there's a lot of misconceptions. Like
they struggle.
Most people don't know there's 9 levels of angels and 9 levels of demons. And I tell you what, I'm sitting here talking to you, Jen. The light in my office.
Oh my God.
I
was just going to tell you, that's weird, John, because my light here, what behind me, and it's not really stormy yet, so that's weird. And
Nothing's
something knocked
happening
over.
at my place.
Something.
4 times, Jen. 4 times as I'm telling you this about demons, this light went from 60 watts to 100. 4 times in a row. It just, I'm telling you, that's part of it. You think they're gone. Yeah.
John, what are the 9 levels of angels? Can you explain that to me, please?
Yeah, there's 9 levels. I have learned so much in this field. It's unbelievable about everything. MUFON, with astronomy, with aircraft, all of that. But there's 9 levels of angels and demons. The top level of angels, there's 3 spheres. The top level are seraphim, cherubim, thrones. And Lucifer was a seraphim. The middle 3 are dominions, virtues, and powers, right? Now, let me first tell you what they do. The seraphim are pure light. The cherubim guard the gates of heaven. The thrones carry out God's orders. The dominions regulate the angels. Virtues perform miracles. God tells them what to do. Powers combat the fallen angels. Then the bottom 3 are principalities, archangels, and angels. Principalities guard against evil. Archangels command God's army, like Michael was an archangel. And angels are basically human guardians. So, but the problem is that you got those same 9 levels of demons. Your seraphim is, and here's the other thing too. I thought that the devil was one person, but there are devils and there are demons. It's multiple. It's not just one person. And if you think about where they say in the Bible that guard us against, what's it called? Powers and principalities, right? Powers and principalities. So It makes me wonder, powers are the 6th level, principalities are 7. So maybe Lucifer didn't take that top 4 levels with him. He was the only high level one. And then the fallen angels were really made up of the bottom 5 levels, and those are his demons, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's pretty interesting. I'm going to have to
look it up.
into that.
9 levels. And if I've asked priests, and they've said, yeah, there's 9 levels of angels and 9 levels of demons. Basically, the top 3 demonic levels supervise. The middle 3 are stronger demons who do the work, and the second is the bottom 3. But if you get a fallen angel, those are the noises in your house. The fallen archangel is like the jinn. They start the attacks on you to wear you down, the scratching, the biting, the poking. The principalities are the possession. Principalities and powers are the levels that possess people. And I don't think it goes any higher than those 4 levels. And then you have Seraphim, the top level, that is the leader. And that's Lucifer.
Well, aren't the archangels, aren't they the highest, though? I mean,
No,
like Raphael, no?
No, they're the second lowest.
Really?
I learned so much in this. Yeah, the archangels are level 8. And angels are level 9. Humans are level 10. And elementals of animals and nature is level 11. You know, so yeah, you thought that archangels are the strongest because Michael defeated Lucifer, but he only did it because God gave him his sword and enabled him to do it.
Now, see, when I go out and I fight evil things, I got Uriel, Uriel.
Yeah,
that's my archangel, and he kicks ass.
Yeah, Uriel, but they were out there to battle. But they were given additional authority by God, you know. But, you know, there's so much of this whole side of it. I actually find this more interesting than the UFO sides, you know. Like, you know, what is the origin of these demons, you know? And you say, well, they were fallen angels. Well, there's actually 5 different types of theories on it. They're actually from another world or dimension, just evil beings from another planet or dimension. There was a race here prior to Adam that had no souls, and when they died, they became demons. You have the Watchers, which were the 200 angels that mated with women, afterwards, before the Great Flood. Then people say demons can be spirits of evil people. Hitler, Idi Amin, Pol Pot. They can then become demons, and you also have the 1/3 angels that were fallen angels in the beginning that sided with Lucifer. So there's really 5 explanations to where demons come from, and nobody really knows.
Okay, not to, but who had the authority to say all this stuff? What author was it that explained all these?
Some comes from the Bible, some comes from exorcisms where they question the demon, tell me your name. They try to break him down by getting him to communicate, tell me your name, and they actually ask questions and they compile this information. Because like when I told you the hierarchy, I can give you the names of the names of demons that fall into each of those 9 levels of demons, from the books I've read. Okay.
I'm a little sketchy on this situation, but that's my own personal opinion. Okay. Maybe it's something that I have to look into even more. See, to me, there are so many damn demons out there in the world, and it's like, who you dealing with? How do you know it's the top demon or the low demon or whatever? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, they know that during the exorcism as to, and they've documented this over the years, and they've kind of broken it down that the noises, then it progresses to the next level of physical contact, and then the next level of possession. And those are different demons that do those different things. Different levels.
In my business, in my thing, I have dealt with people who do get possessed, but they're not from demons. They're from real ghost.
Oh.
Well, okay. A human spirit could do that because
Yes,
it's
the
hard to
human
say.
spirit can jump in on you.
It's hard to
Yes.
say because they say human spirits are not that powerful. They can
Oh,
move
yes,
a
they are.
small item,
Okay.
but then
yes,
go
they
back.
are.
But then
You
go back.
tell him, Sean.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm just saying. Then go back to that original question I raised that there are no ghosts. You either go to heaven or hell, and everything paranormal you deal with is an angel or a demon. If they're that powerful to possess, it's a demon. There are no ghosts. I don't know. I don't know the answer. But it's so interesting.
I'm just sharing what
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I have seen. Now, in order for a spirit to get really strong, they need electricity. Okay.
Yeah. I agree.
They need energy. And when you're at a house and you're under, all kinds of pools and stuff like that and everything going, I mean, it's just like a bed, it's just like a bed full. And then it goes crazy. A lot of the houses that are old, the first thing we check on is the electrical boxes. And, most of the old houses have that, the old wiring, which sends off a lot of energy, and it actually can mess with your mind and get you sick,
Yeah.
So.
Well,
back up.
They definitely draw energy. I could tell you when something happened here in April of, I think that was April 16. I then went, it was a demonic attack. I went outside. I had just picked my jet skis up, had them serviced, charged, everything. It was like 2 weeks later. I take them. I want to take them down to Pittsburgh. So I start them first. Both batteries are dead. Not one.
Yeah.
Both batteries are dead.
Absolutely.
And the batteries in my snowmobiles were dead. 4 batteries, all dead. And there was something outside my house.
That happens all the time.
Yep.
All the time. When I go on investigations, I better bring 64 batteries because they go out within 5 minutes.
It happens when I go to the cemetery too.
Doesn't it worry you though that you can't see it, so you don't know what you're encountering? That's the part that scares me. That I don't want. People have asked me to get involved in a haunting, people need help. That there's a spirit, a shadow person. I don't want to contact them. I don't want to make any contact with them because I don't want to go there and then it attaches to me. And I know they target people and then they send people to you trying to get invited in your house.
They don't like piggybacks.
Yeah. And then once you invite them in, and, I can even tell you when this stuff was really going on here in 2016, I had people, Jen, I'm single at this point, divorced.
Yes.
I meet this woman on Match.com. Right?
Oh, no.
And she goes, I know who you are. I've seen you on television. She goes, let's date. So I meet her in Monroeville, and she says, I'm going to come over your house. Wink, wink. I'm going to stay over your house. Wink, wink. But first, you got to invite my friend over. I said, what?
Who's a friend? A ghost.
No, he's right.
No. Her friend was Olga, the South African exorcist. I said, what?
What?
She goes, I spent, what's the odds of on a dating site I meet somebody who's all into this, right? She goes, I spent a month in South Africa doing exorcisms with this woman. She lives in Pittsburgh right now. She goes, you wouldn't believe the things I saw. I said, well, did you do it with a priest or a Christian or somebody trained? No, Olga the exorcist from South Africa. And I right away said to myself, I know what this is. That Macumbe and voodoo is the most powerful type of possessions, and she wanted me to invite Olga in my house, and it would have brought in a higher level.
Yes, it would have. You are so correct.
And I knew it. And so there is an example of them wanting to be invited in. And you see that in movies too. They come to the door like the Black-Eyed Kids. Invite me in. I need to use the phone. I need to use your bathroom.
Sort of like a vampire, huh?
Yeah, like a vampire. Something else, Jen. Did you know that vampires are demons?
No, I did not.
I never did either. I thought vampires were like a story. Bram Stoker made it up like Frankenstein, Dracula, the Wolfman. I thought they were characters, And the more I've researched this and looked into it, vampires are demonic entities. They're demons. They're the opposite. They're the opposite of, let's say, Jesus, where they live at night. They're not in the light. They drink blood instead of drinking the blood during confession. When you go to mass and stuff. I actually looked into it, and the vampire is actually a demonic entity.
And then I'm like, oh yeah, okay, you already know.
Okay, let's mute that person. This is a crazy night. I think all the
It's a ghost.
The ghosts and the demons are getting through.
I still can't get over my light brightening. I thought it was going to explode 4 times in a row. The thing went from 60 watts to 100 watts while we were talking about the levels of demons.
Yeah.
They're telling me they're still watching. They're here.
Well,
You just watch yourself, all right? I'm serious, John. Watch yourself.
Well, I actually got it. It took me 5 years to get it out of my house. I brought a priest over in 20. Well, he came over. He blessed everything, and it worked for about 6 months. They came back, but he didn't believe. I asked him questions. He goes, "Oh, the devil was just written into the Bible to scare people straight." So I knew his power was really weak. But an interesting thing happened last January of 19. Ryan Cavaline, do you know who he is, Jen?
I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
He's made some Bigfoot movies. He makes movies, Mountain Monsters, stuff like that. He says, "John, I know you have this demonic entity, this haunting at your house." He says, "I'm doing a movie called The Exorcism Prayer. I want you in it. Part of the deal is I'll bring a very trained exorcist down to your house. He'll interview you, and then he will exorcise your house." And I tell you, this guy knew his stuff. He lived up by Route 80, Sharon, PA.
Uh-huh.
He came down. We filmed. I told him what was going on. Holy oil above every window and door, holy water in every room, myself, the whole thing. It's been gone since January of last year when this priest for the movie came down, and he was real. I believe he did drive it out, because everybody that's come in my house, even my daughter-in-law says, "John, Dad, the house is so clear now. There was always this heavy presence in the house." And you know who came over today? We had lunch, was Colleen DeFranco. You know her, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So she came and she said the same thing. "John, when I dated you in 2004 to 2008, she said, your house, I would hear things, and there was such a heavy presence in this." And she goes, "It's not here now." I said, "I know. That exorcism last January,
That's good.
Cleaned it out."
Hey, John, let's turn it over to Jenny here.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to start talking more about the aliens and UFOs. So I want to know, because a lot of our listeners are curious, what were some of your memorable investigations with MUFON?
Yeah, the best one, was 2008. I had become the state director in 2007, and I did that for 10 years. And we get this big case that started up in Lake Erie. I was getting information of bright lights coming off of Lake Erie, some sort of a craft flying. And then I would and you could match up the reports from Lake Erie to Wheeling, West Virginia, then across Pennsylvania State College, and then it just exploded in the Philadelphia Bucks County area. And the Bucks County, at the time, Jen, we were getting 92 cases a year. In a 3-month period in the Philly Bucks County area, we got 230 cases just in that one area. And the 2 best cases were Denise, which I've done on TV, 5 different shows, with the triangular craft dropping these metallic probes into her tree and then sucking them back up. And we took samples of the leaves, and they had high levels of boron on it, not boric acid, which would be a fertilizer. It had boron. Boron is used in stealth aircraft and paints and enamels in nuclear reactors. She had boron on her trees. And a bird had a nest there. The bird was dead after she saw this the next day, was laying on the ground dead. And then at the same time, there was a guy in Doylestown. That was Levittown. Doylestown, retired contractor. And twice, in both of these instances, the dog barked and woke him up at like 4 a.m. This guy, dog barks, wakes him up. He looks out. He sees a gigantic 6-sided craft just slowly moving across the sky. And the second time he woke his wife up, they went outside. There was a heat lightning storm. And when the lightning went off, he could see it. And it looked like 6 triangular craft docked together, and the lightning would go off, and he could see through the seams. So it would light up, and he could see the 6 craft. And it made a turn to the northeast, and just very slowly. He said, John, it was moving like a balloon at about 30 miles an hour, but he said it was gigantic. It was like 3 acres in size. And the investigator goes to the Philly Tower. He gets cleared. He goes up, and on that same time and day, I think it was May 28th, they had a large object with no transponder come on their radar and veered off to the northeast. So whether that was the space program that Trump just went public with, and I think it may have been, who knows? But that one lined up with radar. I was able to get the radar from the supervisor in the tower, yet the FAA 4 times sent me a letter saying there was no radar, yet the woman sent me the disc and we were able to print it.
That's crazy. Why do they cover this stuff up? I don't understand.
At high levels, they're told to, just make it all go away, debunk it, that type. And it could just be a cover for our military. Even the woman with the triangular craft and the sprinkles, well, the guy saw the triangles too. Years later, I learned about the TR-3B. It completely matched up to a triangular craft with 3 lights on it on the 3 ends. It totally matched up to it. So who knows?
That's amazing.
What about the best cases?
What about did you ever get to talk to anybody about maybe someone who thought they were abducted?
Well, here's the funny thing. I stayed away from the abduction field only because MUFON had people who specialized in that. There was Kathy Martin, and then I brought Doc Medich in. He used to pitch for the Yankees and the Pirates. He was a major league pitcher, but he was, as a doctor, he was an orthopedic surgeon too. I got him involved. I said, he joined. I said, if you want to get in this field, you're a doctor, get involved with the abduction. So I stayed away from the abduction stuff until 2014, when Fred Saluga actually said to me, John, look at abductions. He said, it doesn't make any sense. How can it continue to go on for thousands of years? And it's the same thing. When do they have enough genetic material? And right then, like a month later, when I said I'm going to start this research, was that 20th anniversary of my divorce, and something shows up in my house. So there's more than coincidence to that. But mostly talking to other people abducted, I never really got into that because I let the experts in MUFON handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Does Bert have a question? I saw that you were typing. You want to come on in, Bert? If you do, you can unmute yourself. We have a couple minutes left to talk. And going 1, 2, 3. Well, we'll move on then. He'll let me know if he does. I can see him. He keeps looking like he's chatting and then he stops. So that was okay about the abductions. Is there any cases around here that are interesting? I try to keep up, but I haven't really kept up with MUFON too much lately.
Yeah. Well, I retired 3 years ago, and that's when I really got into the demonology and writing some of my books and stuff. So I don't see any of the local stuff because I retired in 2017. So I don't really know, but I was talking to some of the guys just this week, and they said they're getting a lot of cases right now, And, you got Chris Mellon from the Mellon Estate out here in Ligonier. He's involved with that Academy to the Stars and Blink 180, whatever, and then they do that TV show. So who knows, but I don't get the cases anymore.
Okay. Bert, go ahead and unmute yourself. We're here.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Hey,
yes.
Good
Bert.
evening.
Hi, John. I had a question. I guess you kind of just touched upon it. If you have known if there's any like an increase of UFO sightings, and I think you had just said that there was an increase lately. And also, since last week's show was about Bigfoot, have you seen any correlation between Bigfoot sightings and UFO sightings?
Well, when we do the conferences, and as a matter of fact, Fred is going to talk about this if we get to do the October conference at the Westmoreland Community College. But there is sometimes you see Bigfoot with UFOs. There was the famous case down in Uniontown back in '73 where it was a Bigfoot. The farmer, whatever, shot at it, said, "I hit it," and it just disappeared. But he saw a UFO, he saw a Bigfoot, shot the Bigfoot, it disappeared. The UFO left a round circular glowing ring, and the state trooper showed up and said it was like glowing at night. It was like lit up, like a full moon. And one of the people, the investigators, Stan's investigators, like walked into the ring, and he started hallucinating and fell on the ground and started howling. They had to actually grab him and pull him out. But there's a funny thing with the Bigfoots, though. When you shoot them, they kind of disappear. So what is that? I mean, they're interdimensional, or are they demons and shapeshifters that can show as anything?
Interdimensional, I think.
Interdimensional on that one.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Hey, John, one more question, real quick.
Thanks, Bert.
Thanks, Bert. One more quick question. I also read that Pennsylvania is like the third top state in the United States with all kinds of UFOs, Bigfoots, cryptids. Why is that? Why Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it is. Usually when I was tracking all the stuff, it's anywhere between 3 and 5. It's usually California was number 1, and sometimes Texas or Florida. But there's something about the mountain ranges. This mountain range here, the Laurel Mountains, you get ghostly activity. And then you got all the Civil War deaths and everything else that took place here. But this Pennsylvania is very haunted. Now, is it because of all of the rivers that pass through? There's a connection to water. Seems to be a connection to mountains. I don't know, but this is definitely a haunted area and a cryptid area.
I appreciate it, John. Thank you for that answer.
Yeah. Well, it was a really good night tonight. I think we can do this again, John, because we can sit here all night and talk to you. We have so much to offer, but we are coming to the bewitching hour. We have a few minutes left. John, tell our audience where they can get in touch with you to get your books or read up on your.
Yeah, just go to my website is johnventre.com. Officially, it's johnventre.blogspot.com, and you'll get everything you need right there. The conference is supposed to be October 17th at Westmoreland Community College. Should be a good event if we can do it. But johnventre.com will get you there.
I hope we can do it because I don't see why we can't.
Yes.
But it would be really cool.
We're restricted to 25 people at an indoor event right now. So, and I think the fact that it's 2 weeks before the election, they're not going to allow anything because they're pushing this COVID thing way beyond what it is.
Thank you, John.
Yeah,
that's another story.
Yeah, you need to get an outdoor venue.
I tell you what, have me on again to talk about the COVID conspiracy. That's the last book that I wrote. It was
sweet.
That'll be a good one. We'll definitely have you back on.
I'll tell you the whole backstory as to what happened in China.
Oh, okay. Sounds great, John. We'll have to do that. We'll put you in the calendar.
Okay.
Well, thanks again for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. Sean?